It's truly impressive on how they could make such a beautiful adaptation to this series and make it work amazingly, right? The first two episodes alone, they were really as amazing, and I was so impressed. And the third one never fails, right? Whenever you're feeling down and just, down in the dumps, essentially, you're feeling anxious and the like, do whatever you want that makes you happy. Talk to a friend, be alone, be one with nature, whatever you like. But for me, if someone would ask me, Rindo, what would be your go-to when you feeling down? My answer would be either to drink beer or to read the manga, and of course watch the anime adaptation of the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You manga series. And today, family, this week with the airing of the third episode, my God, is this so beautiful, and I just can't wait to share this experience with you all. So apologize for that noise, and you may be asking yourselves, Rindo, where the heck are you? This is not the usual, well, dumpster fire of a place that you had before. Well, just it's just a sort of temporary thing, and I really wanted to make this video right away because I have so much to say, right? So much to say about the third episode, and yeah, let's just jump right into it, right? I've made a couple of points that I want to share out, especially to how the anime was directed, right? Because surely enough, indeed, don't get me wrong, the pacing and the entire way that it covers the third chapter, right? Because the way that this episode, I suppose, yeah, progressed, right, or the way it's being written, so to speak, right, is that it picks off right after the second episode's ending, where we get to meet Shizuka, right? At that point, it was already at the beginning of the first few pages of the third chapter, the first volume, right? So the third episode, right, it picks off on that, but we get to see first this opening scene where Shizuka is a scenario, so to speak, right? Where Shizuka is a princess. She's portrayed as this princess, right? And she's doing a monologue, right? She's doing a monologue about, essentially about how she feels, right? The situation that she's in and the sort of struggles that she faces in life. It doesn't really directly say it, right? But she's sort of emanating that feeling of the type of feeling that she has or that she faces all the time in her life, right? That is up until now that she's met, or when she first made contact with Rentaro. That's where we kick off in the next scene, right? Essentially, what I love about this entire adaptation, or the portrayal rather, or directing of this anime, right, is that indeed, as I said before, it indeed follows amazingly well with the third chapter's story progression, so to speak, right? But what I also love about it is that they've also added other scenes and other context, right? Similar with what they've done in the first episode and the second episode as well. They've added these scenes of which they cannot be found. They haven't been drawn, right, in the manga, right? So you have, for instance, the scenes from Circuit Love Story, which is the favorite book of Shizuka, right? And this is that there were scenes, right, that were indeed brought to animation, and I really love the approach that they've taken with that, right? In the manga, it was seen that Rentaro was just reading out the scenes aloud, right? So it was just purely text and kind of just depicting the picture, or painting a picture through his words. But in the anime, they brought those words, that scene, to life. And in those scenes, Shizuka would play the princess, and Rentaro would play the main protagonist of the story, Kamakul, the knight. Or I think that's again that nice depiction, right, of the story to really give more imagery to it. Something that I really, I really appreciate, right, from this adaptation, right? And another thing that I also really appreciate as well, is the librarian character. Now, to clarify, fam, Shizuka is a sort of a student committee, so to speak, right, for lack of a better term. She is the one assisting, right, student assistant to the main librarian, right? Shizuka is not the librarian, but she's just she helps out around the library. But the main librarian, who we do indeed see in the third chapter, right, but in just that one panel, right, that one small panel, that she delivered a dialogue, and that's it. But in the anime, she also had another scene, right, another role to this entire story, not a huge role, so to speak, but I really just love how they've also added, more dialogues to this librarian character. Because I have to say, fam, the librarian character is beautiful, right? Animation wise, and just in the entirety of her character in general, I find it to be super cool, super indeed amazing to be animated, right? The animation really goes above and beyond my expectations, right? I really do love it, right? And another thing that I also really love as well is the way that Shizuka's cuteness has been enacted and portrayed and executed very well into the anime, right? We've seen the promotional videos, the promotional materials, all sorts of different sound bites and clips, so to speak, right? From Shizuka, the way that she moves and her mannerisms, and seeing it in the anime itself, right? Or seeing more of it rather in the anime, it's so good. And a couple of things that I really wanted to share as well about how I really love Shizuka's, being animated, right? Is for first and foremost the small little details, right, of that makes her so cute, like for instance, her quivering, right, the way that she has the this sort of a panicky moment or startled moment, the emotions that she has when she lights up, and the ways that her eyes change and sparkle according to her mood, and her sort of cowlicks and messy hair as well. The animation of that is beautiful. I would say that Shizuka really is indeed a character of which her entire, body, right, the characteristics of her body that make her or that define her in a way, right, of being this shy person, this bookworm of a person, is even more, highlighted in the anime because of how the animation really animates the movements, right? The little movements that make Shizuka so cute. Uh, the examples that I've said earlier, right? The quivering, the startled moment, or the panicking, and the way that she's so bouncy and just moves so cutely. It's everything that I really love about anime in general, right? I do love how they've really translated and really portrayed well Shizuka's character in in this medium, right? I also really love the moments when she blushes as well. I find it to be so cute and adorable, and the sounds, the sort of the sounds that come along with it, as cute, man. It melts my heart. Here's where things get interesting, right? And it's to the point of Shizuka's backstory right now. To not really give too much of a sort of spoiler, so to speak, right? Or for at least to give context. Shizuka is this character, right, who uses an unorthodox means of communicating, of talking to people, right? And because of that, she had a very rough upbringing, or sorry, a rough, start in life, so to speak, right? That scene, especially with Shizuka's mother, right, and Shizuka, was played so amazingly that you can really feel the intensity, the sadness, and just the pain, I suppose, of Shizuka. And of course, we now know the reasons behind Shizuka's mother acting the way that she is, right? Thanks to the latest chapter, or a very later on chapter, right? But the scene that was portrayed during that moment, right, was so, you can really do indeed, fam, feel the pain, right, and the sadness. And I just really love the voice acting as well, that from Shizuka's mother and Shizuka as well, right? Maria Naganawa, who is the voice actress of Shizuka, beautifully portrays her role, right? It's the acting and the directing of this anime, fan. That scene as well is, it's indeed so amazing. I'm at loss for words. But what also made me, turn on the faucet, right, to the waterworks, so to speak, to my eyes, that really made me cry in the inside as well, is from Shizuka's confession. The scene where, the beautiful moment when Rentaro um, has that talk with Shizuka, and then he proceeds and confesses to her. and there's that beautiful moment, this beautiful animation, accompanied by such a heartwarming musical score. It all ties together well to create this beautiful moment that uh, it, it it brings a tear to my eyes, fam. Now moving on, Shizuka's voice, right? I've mentioned before that Shizuka again is this character who uses a text-to-speech app to communicate, right? And many of the fans, right, would speculate, right, if this were to get an anime adaptation, what would Shizuka's voice sound like, right? Some would speculate that it would sound sort of monotonic or robotic-ish, right? And some would also think that it would sound like a regular voice actress playing the character of Shizuka, but her voice is sort of modulated to sound more robotic. And well, that was essentially the case, right? If I correct me if I'm wrong, but Maria Naganawa, who is the voice actress of Shizuka, indeed still plays or voices rather Shizuka, but whenever she speaks, right, or whenever she has dialogue, it's sort of modulated more into a sort of AI, or sorry, text to speech ish app, right? Or sorry, text to speech ish tone, rather, I would say, you know. And similarly enough, this is the sort of same approach that the Hyakuno ASMR did with Shizuka's voice. If you didn't know, on YouTube, I don't know if it's still there, but there's this sort of ASMR episodes, right, where the characters from the series would just, have this sort of conversation, so to speak, right? An ASMR essentially. And Shizuka, the character, Shizuka's character, the way that they portray Shizuka's or the voice of Shizuka's character, right, is in that sort of robotic-ish tone. And then finally, to wrap up this entire episode, we have finally one of the most iconic phrases delivered by Rentaro. And there you have it. So could I please have permission to have blank, the girlfriend's name, as my newest girlfriend, and something along those lines, right? So yeah, that moment never fails to make me, to make me laugh every now and then. And seeing it animated, I love it. You know what, fam? Overall, the episode was indeed an amazingly heartwarming episode that really tugs the heartstrings, right? For one, it has a really good pacing, in my opinion, right? I really do believe that the pacing is good enough to have it really build up on Shizuka's likability, right, as a character, and also for us as an audience to understand her own struggles, right, and what her whole character is about, right? And of course, you have the new story added into the new story content, so to speak, right, added into the anime. I didn't feel like it has ruined or stretched out the story too long, right? I think it was just perfectly placed, right, and perfectly added. And combining these two elements together, accompanied with an already amazing amazing story for Shizuka, for introducing Shizuka's character, it comes out as a beautiful, indeed a beautiful work of art in the anime, or in this anime adaptation, right? So yeah, overall, wonderful episode as always, and I can't wait for the next one. And I hope you've also liked the episode as well, fam. So yeah, with that being said, thank you for listening and take care, fam.